Hi friends, Maria Gabriela here, your clinical pharmacist turned Ayurveda health counselor. And today we're going to talk about making ghee, which is honestly, it's one of those things again, when I first started practicing Ayurveda, I was like, I'm never going to be one of those people that like makes spices or makes ghee. And I have totally, totally become one of those people. And one of the reasons is that once you start doing it yourself, you can't go back. It's like yours tastes better than the thing that you buy at the store. So that's part of the reason. Also, these things are very simple, but of course they take time. So I totally understand sometimes we do not have the space and time in our lives, depending on the season, to do these things. But I feel very fortunate that at the moment, as I'm recording this, I am in a space where I feel like I have the space and time to do this. So there's lots of things that I want to say about ghee. It is a magical, magical food, and it is the cornerstone of cooking in Ayurveda, and it's good for all constitutions. So it's one of those foods that is good in general for everyone. And it is an oil that is clarified butter. So it's basically butter with all of the milk solids boiled off and all of the water boiled off, and then it condenses this beautiful golden substance. It is high in butyric acid, which helps to moisturize and keep the gut lining nice and lubricated. It is a prebiotic, it is a probiotic. Oh, butyric acid also has fat metabolizing properties as well. And it is high in vitamins A, D, E, and K. So those are our fat-soluble vitamins. It is also, because of it being clarified butter and not having any milk solids in it, is not considered dairy. It doesn't have lactose or casein, so the two main things that most people react to in dairy products and cheeses and whatnot. And what else is beautiful about ghee? There's so many things. Ghee can also be used as a moisturizer. You can put it on your skin. Ghee has a special property of having a high smoke point, so you can do high temperature cooking with ghee, and we want to make sure to watch out for that, because if we use oils that do not have a high smoke point to cook with, they oxidize and they cause inflammation in the body. And so unfortunately, one of those oils that we have to be concerned about is olive oil, which if we had very high quality olive oil, it would be totally fine, but we don't always know what kind of quality of olive oil we're getting here in the States. So ghee and avocado oil and coconut oil are the three main oils in terms of high smoke point cooking oils. Olive oil is wonderful to use cold. So just know that. Okay. What else is wonderful about ghee? Ghee is also used in Ayurveda as a carrier for medicines. So you can cook herbal medicines into ghee, and that's actually the way to get it into the deepest tissue layers for the most, into the deepest tissue layers in Ayurveda. In Ayurveda, I'm not going to get into this, but we talk about 7 tissue layers, and when you have a medicine that's made in ghee, it can actually penetrate into the deepest layers of the tissues. And in Ayurveda, they're nourished from the most superficial into the deepest layer. And so that's an important quality of that as well. Okay, what else? Oh, so here's what I want to tell you as well. Ghee making, it's considered a building food. And so it's a nice thing to do around the full moon or when the moon is waxing. I know another practitioner who likes to make ghee at the new moon, and I think that's beautiful as well. My mentor, Mary Thompson, I asked her a question about this. I was like, so I have these new moon ghee or full moon ghee, and when do you think is the best time to make ghee? And she said, anytime you need it. So as usual, Ayurveda gets, it is, the reason that it's endured is because it is said that we need to adapt it to our modern culture. And so do not despair if you need to make ghee when the moon is waning. I usually try to do it between the new moon and the full moon during the waxing for the building, or at the full moon time. Today is a full moon. It's a super moon, so I thought it was a cool day to make ghee and make this video. However, make the ghee when you need it. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So it's not actually a very complicated process. The main thing that you need is a pot, like a sauce pot. I really like this pot with the lip because it makes it a lot easier to pour And you'll see that at the end when I pour out the ghee. And I tend to do this process usually with 4 pounds of butter. Today I'm only going to do it with 1 pound of butter just to keep it really, really simple. Okay, about the butter. So this is the butter that I usually use. If you can get truly pasture-raised butter, organic, unsalted, the higher the quality of the butter, obviously the higher the quality of your ghee. And I know that it makes that expensive, but if you go look for high quality ghee, it's even more expensive. That's another reason to make your own ghee, and another reason I like it, because it does save you money to make your own ghee. So the only thing that you have to do, and I like to show you guys in real time as much as possible, because again, of the simplicity, but we won't hang out together the whole time that I make the ghee. The only thing that you do, you turn on you can turn on the, I have gas stove, you turn on the stove, medium heat is good. Just unwrap your ghee, unwrap your butter, not your ghee. Unwrap your soon-to-be ghee. And all I'm doing is putting it in the pot. We want to leave it uncovered. Oh, I do want to mention this, that it is said that when you're making ghee, that it will absorb whatever energy is around. So I like to sing to my ghee. I like to sing mantras to my ghee. And I also like to just play mantras for my ghee. So once, I show the video off, I'll do that. So yeah, that's it. I mean, for right now, right? So I'll show you what it looks like. It's just a pot full of butter at the moment. And when it melts, so I am going to turn the heat down a little bit to medium low. So a 4 on a scale of 1 to 10. And let it go a little bit slower, especially because I have a smaller quantity. Sometimes I'll start a little bit higher, but I'll turn it down. And in a little while, and I'll pause my video and come back to show you this, but in a little bit, it will start to, once all of the butter sticks have melted, it'll start to make a really cool crackling sound. And at that point, make sure that the heat is all the way low. And I usually, because I can get distracted and go, and in this whole process, it can be, by the way, a very meditative process. And of course, teachers, when they teach this, often encourage that you sit with the process, right? If you have this space, sing the mantras and make it a meditation to make your ghee. However, if you're, doing other things, which I never do, obviously, set a timer, and for just this 1 pound of butter, it will probably take less than 20 minutes. So I'll probably set the timer for about 10 to 15, because if you go over, you'll burn it, and you don't want to do that. So that's the first thing I'm going to do right now. And when it starts to crackle, I'll come back so that you can hear the crackling sound. Hopefully I'll put my microphone right next to it. And you don't have to do anything. You just let it go. And so yeah, it's at that time when everything melts and the crackling starts that I'll set the timer. And I also, not everybody does this. Oh, it's already starting a little bit. I also like to use a thermometer to make sure I've gotten all the water out, because this is partly my pitta, but the first time that I made my ghee, I was so afraid of burning it that I didn't. I kind of actually undercooked it, and it grew mold, which is unusual. If you get all the water out, and the thermometer will read between 230 and 260, so somewhere in there. So I try to aim for about 245 to 50. When you get all the water out, it will not mold. And you also do not need to store it, and you do not want to store it in the refrigerator. You want to store it on the countertop at room temperature, away from heat, of course, and light. But, just like any other oil. So, all right, I can hear it crackling a little bit, but not everything's melted yet. So I'm going to give it a pause, and I'll be right back. right, friends, so I'm back. My ghee is starting to crackle. And just a reminder, if I didn't say this before, you don't have to do anything. You just let it be. Don't stir it. We don't actually want to put like metal things in there while it's cooking off. Again, it's like it's absorbing qualities, so we just want to let it be. So let me take my microphone carefully and put it in there so you can hear the crackling. Kind of a unique sound. I love that sound. Okay. I'm gonna, like I said, now I'm setting my timer. So I don't lose track of it. And I'll be back. I'm back a little sooner than I thought because I wanted you to hear this crackling. And this is with the heat turned all the way down. So it will continue to sort of evolve and do more of this lovely crackling sound. Okay, and while I have you and I'm back here, the thermometer I use is a very simple meat thermometer. That's it. So nothing exciting there. And I'll show you again when in a little bit when my timer goes off, testing it out. As I'm hanging out here, doing some things in my kitchen and listening to my ghee and singing to it, I was thinking about also some of the wonderful reasons why we need good fats in our diet, especially as people in perimenopause and menopause. We really, really need these. They're very good for our brain health and also, as I mentioned, for healthy fat metabolism and moving. In cleansing, we actually also use ghee to move toxins out of the body. So it helps with internal lubrication, which in midlife, of course, we're drying out. So we want to stay as juicy as possible. You could even use ghee to do self-oil massage. I have not done that, but you could. I have used it for nausea, which is a practice where you put oil in your nose and you lay back and you let it go all the way back into the into the sinuses back here. And so, I mean, like I said, ghee has a numerous uses. It's a beautiful thing, and it is also important for us in midlife. Okay, I'm just gonna keep kind of coming in and out as if something else pops into my brain. But mainly, this is all about making ghee today. And so, be right back when my timer goes off. Also, and I might be wrong about this, but as far as I know, there's no special chant for ghee or anything like that. But if you're like, I don't know what to chant to my ghee, you could sing it something that makes you feel good. Like, I am beautiful, I am bountiful, I am blissful. You can also om to your ghee. And so it's just really more about holding the space and being joyful and happy while you're making your ghee. And knowing that you're making medicine for yourself. So, okay. All right, friends, so I just put the thermometer in there and measured the temperature of the ghee, and I just put it in there. And it's at about 220, so it's not quite there yet. But I want you to see something, which is that it starts to change color. So, it, see, you can hold it up, it starts to change color. And actually, I'm just going to bring my camera over and show you a little bit better. But we still have, a few more minutes left on this. So, okay, I'm checking again with my thermometer just to see where we're at. I think we're getting really close. Yeah, so I'm over 230. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the heat here in a minute, and then I'll come back and show you the next step. So once you reach that sweet spot between like 230 and 250, you want to take a jar, and I usually use the bigger jar like this when and I usually need 2 of these or 1 and a smaller one when I make my full amount of ghee, which is like 4 pounds of butter. But today, since I'm just doing the very simple 1 pound, I'm going to use a smaller jar. And these are just glass jars that you can get at Target, or you can even find them at Goodwill. They're all over the place. Just like a good old lid. The lid I won't use right away, and I'll show you the process. And then to strain out the ghee, when this is done in a minute or so, I use a tea strainer, and it works just fine. You can use a cheesecloth as well, and that gives you a little bit more, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it really makes a big difference. I've done it both ways. So this to me is just the most easeful way to do it. And so I'll show you that here in just a moment. I'm going to turn the heat off. And so what I recommend is turning the heat off and then waiting about 3 to 5 minutes to let it cool just a little bit. You don't have to let it cool a lot. And then a trick that I learned from Ira Lewin is I also use a bowl. So I put my jar in a bowl, and it catches any little spills, but also if this breaks by some chance, which it shouldn't, it's tempered glass, but she said that she's had it happen, so it's just a habit that I have, and I've never had any issues, but just something to keep in mind. I did want to show you one other thing too after I turn off the heat. See how it's changed color like it was earlier, but the solids have kind of started dropping to the bottom, so that's another sign that your ghee is done. Like I said, this is the pitta in me. I like to take the temperature. A lot of people will do it with just the salt. Totally up to you. All right, so hey guys, I'm a little bummed. I do not know what happened, but something I recorded for you towards the end of this whole process disappeared. So I'm just inserting this in. And so it was me pouring, and I'm just going to blame it on Mercury retrograde. And of course, this video will hopefully be used later, way later, and we don't know what the stars are doing then, but at this time, we are about to enter a Mercury retrograde, and so technology, things are going to disappear, and we just roll. So I'm sorry that you're not going to see this in real time, but I had shown you my small jar with, and I didn't get to show you the tea strainer. This is the tea strainer. I did show it to you, but it disappeared. This is the tea strainer that I use, and like I said, you can use anything that has like a sieve, fine sieve, or, like I said, also the cheesecloth. So my pot, and you just very carefully, and this is just soapy water, sadly, but you very carefully pour it in there, and then this is what it looks like. It's beautiful golden liquid ghee. And of course, even though this was probably about an hour ago, it's still quite hot, and it'll take a few hours to solidify. And so the final product will look something like this. And so that will completely solidify into this. And then as a reminder, again, we store it at room temperature, and we don't put it in the fridge. Oh my gosh, last but not least, if you liked this video, if it felt relatable, like you now can do it, please like and subscribe. And also, I would love to hear if you have any comments, or if you have pictures of your own ghee and you want to post them. I would love to see them. And if you have any questions, leave comments, questions, etc. Like, subscribes below. Okay, for reals.